in style. There's something else that happened last week that I want us to mention about. That is the impeachment of Governor Kawira Mwangaza of Meru County. This is the third time that she is facing that. Never mind, there has been in total 5 motions of impeachment, but only 3 have gone through, and now they're headed to the Senate. Senator Leda Molekina, there has been people calling for maybe special attention on Meru County, but also last time you had Kawira Mwangaza, there are several issues that you looked into, despite the tears on the floor, to the tune of them coming together to resolve the challenges that they may have. Just before this motion was passed, there had been another one, and the High Court in Meru had ordered alternative dispute resolution. Things seem not to work.
Let me put it this way. The president had an opportunity to be able to dissolve this county because of the internal wrangles, but he missed that opportunity. And it is now very clear that nothing will work in Meru as long as Kawira Mwangaza is a governor. There are people who are disgruntled, and there are people who are determined to make sure that she's out of that position. Now, she has been impeached, I think, a 5th time. You know, and you know very well that the county assemblies are the ones that impeach a governor. The Senate is really the jury to come in and to look at the impeachment process, whether, you know, it was justified or not. But in reality, impeachment is not really a legal matter. Impeachment is a political matter, you know. And so you'll find us even in the Senate, we'll be sitting down there going through evidence, but ultimately the decision will just be political. So we have got a serious crisis in a county like Meru. And the citizen seems to be speaking one thing by electing a woman as a governor, and but there seems to be a cabal that are determined to make sure that they bring some form of confusion in the management of that or in the governance of that county. So now the only thing we have is that I believe the Speaker of the Senate will be calling a special sitting at the beginning Wednesday to be able to consider, because this is a process that you cannot be able to stop. Right. And I know there are people who think that, oh, you know, maybe it might be avoided and the president suspend the county. I saw it in one of your dailies saying that the president can just suspend the county, so there's no point of impeachment. The ship has already left what do you call it, the ocean. It has already gone, and the train has already left. So she has to go through the process. The Constitution is quite clear. If it happens that the Senate confirm her impeachment, then there are consequences. If you look at Article 75 of the Constitution, it's quite clear that once somebody has been removed from office, they can never hold any other public office. So it's not something easy. When you impeach somebody, you're essentially giving them a death sentence. They would never hold any other public office. So this confusion in the county of Meru has to come to an end. It has to be resolved. The neater way of resolving the confusion is really for people to wait up to 2027 to be able to bring in a new government. But also, but that may not happen. Secondly, it is also important that now people are asking for accountability, for people to understand the separation of powers. You know, a lot of people tend to think that, and maybe it's because of the way we've also drafted our legislation. If you look at the PFM Act as an example, it puts the county governor in charge of the county assemblies, or the county treasury in charge of the county assembly. If we were to give the assemblies the autonomous, such that they can be able to draw their money directly from the exchequer, we might end up avoiding all these things. But you'll find that sometimes a county governor will deny assemblies money. You know, so the clerk and the speaker will always be, you know, knocking on the door of the governor. Please tell your CC to release money for us. You know, those are some of the things that we need to be able to correct. Right. So some of these things are systemic in nature. And unless we correct that, we'll continue having all these wrangles. So we should take this as a learning example, give the county assemblies the autonomous, you know, amend the PFM Act. We're busy amending other legislation that cannot be amended, you know, ought not to be amended because they are built up with the process. which I hope we'll talk about them, like the Division of Revenue Bill or Division of Revenue Act. So there's a lot of things that need to happen to be able to stop this. And we should take Meru as an example, because if we don't solve the problem of Meru, if a president cannot really examine and sees that there's a problem here, and maybe form a commission of inquiry to suspend a county, you know, waits until the assembly has impeached a governor 5 times, you know, we have
that
serious
require a petition, or the president can do on his own?
I mean, if you read Article 192, it's quite clear. It says the president may suspend a county government when there is war, internal war, or other, you know, I think external circumstances. You know, and if you look at these, you know, these issues that are happening there, it seems to be an issue of ego. You know, in the men, you know, we men are just egotistic. You know, we feel like we're the only ones who can be able to run or govern a county. You know, that's one of the biggest issues that we have. It is born in our culture, where the men, we chest dump, you know, and we feel like we can only be. Oh, the other thing is that also women also have, you know, want to blame that maybe because they want to do the right thing, and maybe they cannot sit down and agree on certain demands because maybe it might be affecting their fiduciary responsibility. So all this confusion have got to be resolved.
Oh, okay. All right. Mheshimiwa Mureo, what could go so wrong in Meru to the extent that for a third time the county assembly has sat and decided this is the best way out to deal with the situation there?
I really feel for Governor Kawira. And more so, putting myself in her shoes, the trials and tribulations, I don't think it's anything I would like to wish any elected leader. But here we are. The underlying factor in Meru, from my understanding and conversation with the members of parliament from that area, stems from the fact that Kawira did not come from the Popular Party. She did not come from the UDA party, the Kenya Kwanza party, which again has provided almost each and every MCA in Meru. That is a factor. And as a result, you find that the DNA between her party and the majority of the MCAs are not gelling. So basically, you come up with what you call the personality crash. Of course, there are issues, of course, as a result, there are many things that stemming from it. And we have had conversation about issues about who she's married to. People saying they're married to a musician, yes, and then you wonder who is this they wanted her to marry. Others saying she's a woman, you know, all manner of things. But I think the genesis of it all is that it is a party issue. They don't live from the same script, and also personality, because again, having your own party and you've won an election in a strong way, like which was there before during the election 2022. Of course, she has her own stand and her own convictions, and then that again has made her not to gel very well or with the MCAs.
But what gelling is needed in running a government?
Remember under the Constitution, the governor is executive of the county. And for her to progress and be able to push her policies in the county, he will need the support of the MCAs. Now, it means they do not share manifesto together. Remember, the MCAs, majority of them came with the UDA party, which have different manifesto. She has her own party.
She's an independent.
Sorry, she's independent. She came with her own manifesto to be elected. Now, as a result, now the marriage of the two is the one which is being a bit of a problem. But here we are. I think, as Senator has said, history has proved that all impeachments are political as opposed to legal.
Okay.
In the past, the Senate has been able to save her, and who knows? She may have 10 lives in the cut.
Okay, not 9. Dr. Rugo.
Yeah.
So it is okay for assemblies to exercise their mandate to oversight an institution of the executive and to even impeach like they have. But when you look at it, eventually it affects the service delivery. And the citizens of Meru deserve better. But what would be the solution out of this?
Yeah, first of all, I feel so bad that from all the conversations I have followed around Kawira, she seems to be getting persecuted because of who she is. Not because of a policy she has pursued, not because of services she promised that she did not deliver, which for me is really against the idea of devolution. When we came up with a devolved system of government, we were not looking for, relationships and marriages. We were looking, I mean, you didn't need to be a governor who is loved by everybody. And remember what, two examples. We have had the case of Ambora, the neighbor in Meru, Nembu, who also survived quite a number. But the example I want to use is Kibwana. You remember Governor Kibwana? Yeah. Makueni County actually came to a standstill. I think President Uhuru was at the cusp of just dissolving the county. But what happened is that because the issues had nothing to do with service delivery, if anything, Kibwana was saying, no, we cannot abuse public funds. We must achieve services. So at a fundamental, I see a very big fundamental problem. And my worry is that if Kawira's impeachment goes through, we will have set a precedence that as long as we don't like you, whether you are doing your work or not, we just push for impeachment. I mean, there is nothing that requires a governor to come from the same political party with the MCAs. If anything, it should be stronger in terms of accountability, you know, because then we see things from differently. Two, MCAs were not elected on the governor's manifesto. Their job is accountability. I think that's where we have had all these mix of responsibilities, where people think, unless the things I had purpose to be done in my ward are being done, regardless of what, yet their job is, you know, so my concern is that in the process of all that, of course, service delivery is affected, yet we put this structure of checks and balance between the county assembly and the executive to be able to provide those services, you know. So it's not Kawira who is failing right now, it's all of them in collective responsibility. Right. Because if the budget is not being implemented, if work is not being done, who are the people taking political responsibility at the county level? They can try to say it's Kawira, but for me, I see a fundamental challenge, and I'm very troubled even by the fact that she's going through this because she's a woman, she's going through this because she ran as an independent. Nobody is presenting any issues, you know, that there is this service she did not deliver, or there is this, you know, perhaps there is, you know, so that then the evidence, and I don't dispute the fact that it's a political matter, but let us engage. Our politics is supposed also to be driven from a point of merit. You know, what is it that she promised to do that she's not doing? Okay. Have they given her the necessary tools of approving budgets and providing the relevant? Otherwise, if we go with that trend, then it means you basically do not have 47 counties. You have 4,000 counties, because then every ward becomes a unit of development. And if you don't do what I want in my ward, now imagine what would happen even at the constituency level. Then you have a state of anarchy, you know, in that sense. So for me, I think whatever happens, this must be pursued from a point of merit. This must be pursued from a point of separation of powers. And if the worst case, then let the people of Meru be given an opportunity to actually do a fresh mandate for the person. But that then requires a commission to be able to make a tribunal, you know, equivalent to be able to make that decision.
Right. And of course, excuse me, part of the allegations are gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, including that she illegally revoked the appointment of CPA Virginia Kawira Miriti as Secretary or CEO of the Meru County Public Service Board, contrary to the County Governments Act, and that there was gross misconduct, giving false information that 86 million shillings had been raised through the pay bill number with an account given, established after the murder of Daniel Muthiani, alias Sniper, or the correct position is that only 286,000 shillings was raised. Then there are the allegations of abuse of office, increasing wage bill more than 500 million shillings through bloated workforce, and paying Kiambi Christas Manyara, a remanded county staff, his full salary. Diana, so the allegations are there. The Assembly has made a decision. The Senate will have its time. But in the end, all that people are asking for is fairness on the side of the impeached person, but also service delivery for the citizen. Are we getting closer there?
No, and unlikely. I happened to be in Meru as Governor Kawira was being impeached, engaging communities there on matters accountability, and were treated to quite a sin. I think in Meru that day there were 2 demonstrations, one for Governor Kawira, and then at about 9 a second demonstration against Kawira. And while questioning certain aspects of budget management and so on, comparatively between Isiolo, Tharaka Nithi and Meru, the ratio of recurrent expenditure versus development expenditure, Governor Kawira is doing much, much better. Meru has a budget of 10 billion, recurrent expenditure is at 4.8. The neighboring counties are way above 75%, 80%, 90%. And that's the person who is being targeted. But yes, it's a very, very political process. One, a woman was elected as an independent. She presented a budget before the county assembly. It was amended item for item. She declined to assent to it, but the county assembly is the one that makes law. They are the budget holders, so that's the budget that stands. Imagine that level of antagonism around a personality, because it's just a personality that these people cannot live with. I don't know what it is political, but I doubt we have seen it anywhere else. Governor Wabora survived all those times, Kivutha, and there are other independent governors. The governor of Taita Taveta is also an independent governor, but somehow he has a way of working with MCAs. So for me, it is a combination of people abusing their political power to just destabilize the leadership of Governor Kawira, and secondly, deep-seated patriarchy in Meru County, where certain people cannot understand how on earth somebody emerged from the margins and came right to the middle and became governor at that particular point. And look at the process. When the president was presented with this, he was like, this looks political, partly cultural, jury check a try. I don't even know how the judiciary was persuaded at some point to refer it for arbitration. But sometimes political processes, you look for solutions anywhere. And for me, the pointer that this went to the jury checker was showing how deep-suited the cultural interference and perceptions are in the process of the impeachment or allowing Governor Kawira to finish their term. And then jury checker says, we will not mediate this. Remember, this is a county that is usually divided into, I think, 3 sub-tribes of the Meru, and each of them pulls their own way and their own weight. Has it gotten to that particular level? And I spoke to some people on the ground who felt Governor Kawira is giving us very, very strong pro-poor policies. She has moved away the contracts for roads from individual contractors to one institution or the institution that is government-led. So I do not know what we do around personalities. Has it become this easy to impeach governors? Do other office holders go through the same levels of scrutiny, and would they face the same persecution? That's something we need to reconsider. Okay, all right.
Of course, the Senate will have its day to hear that and determine it. But we are taking a short break here. When we come back, we'll be going straight to the zero-based budgeting, but also what the president has said, that everyone is on board, that it's time that badala kupiga kelele huko nje, kila mtu akuwe ndani. We'll be talking about that. Stay tuned.